welcome to Financial Minds. In today's episode, we're diving into the impact of Vizo Financial's empowerment grants, a powerful funding initiative that's helping credit unions bring financial education and support directly to the communities they serve, and so much more. Joining us is Lauren Whaley, president of the Carolina Credit Union Foundation. She'll share how the foundation partners with Vizo Financial to administer these grants and why this work is so critical. We'll also hear directly from two credit unions who have received these empowerment grants. We'll walk through the innovation programs they've launched and the impact that they're making as well. So Lauren, thanks for joining me. How do the Vizo Financial empowerment grants fit into the broad mission of empowering credit unions and their communities?
Yeah, well, first of all, Jamie, thanks so much for having us this morning. Really appreciate the opportunity for all of us to come together and share some details on our amazing partnership that we have with Vizo Financial. Now 2 years in the making, so excited for what the future holds. So yeah, as you shared, Jamie, I mean, the mission of the Carolinas Credit Union Foundation is really to empower and inspire credit unions to better their communities, right? So this financial empowerment grant really speaks to our commitment, to expand social responsibility efforts, to deepen our philanthropic engagement and our role as the philanthropic leader in the Carolinas, and really to foster collaborative programs, our partnership with you guys to really drive meaningful change and promote financial well-being in the communities that credit unions serve. So I love that this program allows us to be able to give funding where funding may not be possible for credit unions to be able to really get out into their communities and build stronger outcomes, financial outcomes for their members.
All right. So, Lauren, can you tell me about the response from the credit unions, for these grants? Did you receive a lot of applications?
Yeah, so I mean, of course, like anything, you kind of build on the momentum from the years past. But yes, we received more applications than we did the first year, and super excited about the continued growth. We actually changed our parameters kind of from the first year to the second year.
Okay.
We increased our grant threshold in our second year for up to $10,000 in funding versus $5,000 where we had it set our first year. And we really found that, credit unions could really kind of expand what they wanted to do with a higher grant threshold. And we're super excited about all the programs that we were able to support this year because of our partnership with Vizo.
All right. Well, walk me through the process. How do credit unions apply for these grants, and how do you decide which organizations or programs get funded? What's the criteria you used in that selection process?
Well, I will say that people always have this misconception, but giving out grant dollars is hard. It's really hard. We have, we're getting ready to give out $100,000 to our small credit unions for our technology and capital improvement grants, and it's a really tough choice. So there's a lot of there's a complicated matrix that goes into our selection. We look at the projected outcomes for the program that they are looking to receive funding for. How many members will this program actually benefit? We look at various pieces as it relates to, are they collaborating with outside partners? Do they have financial resources to be able to ensure that this program can continue into the future? Are they a small credit union with potentially limited capital to be able to devote to this? So there's a lot of, since there's no asset limit to apply, we get requests from, multi-billion-dollar credit unions and then multi-million-dollar credit unions that serve just a small community. So we kind of weigh all those factors in determining who we select and the final dollar amount that we will provide in terms of grant dollars. So it is complicated. I don't think I can give away the secret sauce, but a lot of work and intention goes into selecting our grant recipients every year.
All right. Well, let's talk to some of these grant recipients. So, Sarah, thank you so much for being here. Would you mind, before I start asking you a few questions, would you mind just introducing yourself and what credit union you're with and what you do at the credit union?
Yes, thank you so much for inviting me today. So, my name is Sarah Bell, and I am with Greenville Federal Credit Union in South Carolina. And I am our Director of Community Engagement and Business Development. So, it's the most amazing role. I love it. But we are so grateful to be a recipient of the grant. So, thank you to Vizo and also to Lauren and the Carolina Credit Union Foundation for awarding us this grant and believing in our abilities to make a difference. So thank you both.
You're welcome. So then tell me, tell me about the project or the initiative your credit union funded with this grant. What challenges or opportunities were you hoping to address?
Yes, I would say the challenge or the opportunity we were hoping to address was really the fact that many folks don't have emergency savings. So we wanted to create a savings match program. It was coupled with financial education. And so we ended up partnering with multiple entities in our community to help serve folks that they're already serving who, fell into some criteria in terms of need or like not as financially stable or, needing the education pieces. So we worked with the local Head Start. So the Head Start in our community, and this is the federal Head Start, they have 14 locations across the upstate. And so we have financial education series that also has a savings match. We also work with a group called Serenity Village. They are part of a larger umbrella called the Phoenix Center, but they work with folks who've struggled with addictions. And Serenity Village is specifically for women who had addiction issues and they are either pregnant or have a child under 5. And it's a residential facility. And then we also partnered with a group called Parent Cafe, which is part of, again, a slightly larger umbrella, the Nickeltown Child and Family Collaborative. But that works with parents. It's mostly women, mostly single moms, and just helps them to get the education and resources in a variety of areas, not just financial, but to, have better outcomes for their children.
All right.
So we strategically partnered with some specific groups, and we're trying to design a way to help create emergency savings.
Okay. So why is this particular project important to your membership in your community?
Yes, I mean, I think we're all fairly aware of the statistics related to how many people have $500 in a savings account, 1,000, and with our work at credit unions, have seen how if your budget is so tight and you have a small emergency, a flat tire, or a medical copay or something, or we just had Hurricane Helene, or what's happening with SNAP, all these events that happen in our society, that if you have to put some of your budget towards covering that emergency, now you've just created a cycle of being behind. You didn't pay your phone bill. So we wanted to really help address that. And so at the same time, we were wanting to make it where they had the education to understand why that would matter and be able to create healthy habits in terms of, regular savings, automatic payments. How do you know how to do it? So all the series included other education pieces besides just savings, whether it was budgeting, understanding about credit scores, it was different depending on the particular group, but they had at least 4 sessions that they had to complete in order to be eligible for the savings
Okay.
part.
Jamie, if I may add something too,
Yeah.
just to kind of quantify what, the partnerships that Sarah has orchestrated there in the upstate. The Carolinas Credit Union Foundation sponsored the ALICE research reports in both of our states. So ALICE stands for Asset Limited, Income Constrained but Employed. So these are folks that are living above the federal poverty line but are struggling day in and day out to meet the basic living expenses that they need to survive. A household survival budget is what the United Way refers to it as. And the statistic for single women head of households is staggering. It's almost 80% of single women head of households are ALICE or living in poverty. So this is an extremely vulnerable population in our country, and whatever we can do to lift up those individuals is what the credit union system is all about, right? So
Yeah,
I just wanted
absolutely.
to say that, to put some numbers behind
Yeah.
it, because
All right.
it's the most vulnerable population for sure.
Yeah, well, thank you for that additional context. So Sarah, then, what kind of impact have you seen so far? Was there a moment or a result that really confirmed this project was making a difference?
Yes. Actually, quite a few of those. There were a couple of times some of my teammates and I, you get, teared up from just feeling so proud to be a part of people's journey. And along with what Lauren was saying before I give you some specifics, but the women and most, I would say most of the folks that we worked with were women, single moms. Not only are you helping them, but then they have children, so they can pass on better habits to their children to try and make some generational impact. So a number of things. One, just the comments of hearing, I mean, we had many women. I've never had a savings account before in my life. For them to say, I have a savings account, right? With Parent Cafe, many of the women, we made some financial goals. So for some of them, it was improving their credit score. I mean, to hear people be so excited that they had a credit score above 600, I finally in the 600s, was really helpful. But they did that because they got a really strong budget going and they were having emergency savings so that they had a little cash flow whenever there was some sort of thing going wrong, the emergency. With Serenity Village, that population of women, none of them were working at the time, right? They were in a rehab program. And with that group, two super rewarding pieces. One, almost all of them use fintech as their banking. And so to be able to help educate them about how Chime, Cash App, I personally learned a lot, Kickoff, all of these, sort of uh, newer programs that I think are some can be sometimes a little predatory, but to help them understand how they actually work, um, was really helpful. But we opened memberships for all of them and opened a savings account for them, and many of them had not ever had a real actual traditional financial institution. And at Greenville Federal Credit Union, we obviously have checking accounts too, and we have a specific credit score threshold to be able to get a non fee bearing checking account. And we, I think, had a stereotype that maybe many of them wouldn't qualify for that. It was like 80% of them qualified to get an actual checking account that had rewards, and many of them opened checking accounts as well. So that was it just felt so good to help them move into a financial institution that has more opportunities. And then the other thing was, from a business development standpoint, I started tracking how long they were staying as members, right? I wanted to know how strong of members are we creating as well. And I am so proud to say that I started tracking in January of this year, so almost a whole year of data. We have only had one out of about 45 who are not still a member and in good standing. And many of them have continued to use this as their banking institution. And there's some that we have such a good relationship, like they call and text my teammate and I, and they're like, hey, I'm about to put some money in my savings. I want you to watch it. So it's really cute. But I think that the impact has just been really what we were hoping for. People feel more empowered, but they do have an emergency savings account and they've taken advantage and not, I think there was maybe a anticipation that some people would take the savings and then just close the membership, and that's not been the case at all.
Wow. Wow. Amazing. So thank you so much for sharing that. But I feel like we need to bring Christy into the conversation. So Christy, would you mind just sharing what credit union you're with, what you do there, a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Christy Smith. I'm the president CEO of Acclaim Federal Credit Union. And I do whatever it takes to get through the day. We are a small credit union and we wear many hats, but it's fun.
All right. Well,
Someday.
welcome. Welcome, Christy. Thanks for being here. So tell me about the project or initiative your credit union funded with the grant. And same question, what challenges or opportunities were you hoping to address?
Yeah, so for us, we're opening a second branch. I always say second branch. People think, oh, you have two. No, it's we have our main branch, and this will be our second branch in an underbanked area. And so what I mean by that is they do not have financial institution in their zip code. And so for some of those individuals, they have to drive 30 minutes to get financial services. And beside this underbanked area is an elementary school. And so we thought, how can we use this grant and how can we show this community that we're not there, that credit unions are different than the bank that left them. So we're going to invest in their community and we want to be a true partner. So our project was that when you open up a kid's account, that we are going to give you $100 seed money, and then that gives us the open door, like Sarah talked about, to give the financial education on why it's important. And so the statistics are in the United States, 70% of kids do not have a savings account at all. And with the 30% that do, they are 4 times more likely to attend college. So if you really think about that,
Wow.
you're setting kids up to have a positive relationship with money. And sometimes when we're doing financial education, when I say the word budget, I say, tell me what do you feel like when I say budget? And they're like, bad. And it's got a negative connotation. So what if we turn that around with kids and they have a positive relationship with money from the start? And then that way they own their own financial story very early. And so again, we're encouraging the parents to give $5 a week, $10 a week, just continue to build. And we're paying 6% on that savings account. And that's a whole nother issue because some of these parents, they've never earned a dividend or interest on anything. And so they're so appreciative for, just to say, oh my goodness, my child has a savings account earning 6% APY.
Wow. That's amazing. I didn't know some of those statistics, so thank you so much for sharing those. So I feel like it's clear as to why, this particular project was important to that community, but why was it also so important to you then as well? I mean, for your credit union?
It is important to me, cooperation among cooperatives. It is very important for the community to understand that we're there long term and we are their community partner, and just show the credit union difference. I mean, we truly care about their financial well-being, and we want to offer products and services that's going to enrich that community. And I'm going to be honest, they have embraced us. It is a beautiful situation. They're so supportive. They're so excited about our January opening. And, we go in and we have account opening days and they just come in and they're just so excited, and we hear the best stories. So it's important for us to build up this community that the banks just left. They just deserted.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're really bringing the heart back into the financial education in that community. So, I mean, amazing. So obviously I want to hear some of these stories. So what kind of impact have you seen so far? Was there a moment or a result that really kind of confirmed the project was really making a difference?
Yeah, when we had one of our account opening days, it's funny that Lauren and Sarah talked about single mothers, because we had a single mother come in with her child, and she said, this is the first savings account that my family has ever had. And this is the first account where we've ever earned interest. And she was almost in tears talking about how she wanted something better for her child. And so, I'm tenderhearted anyway, so that kind of broke me. And, I just think about, isn't that what we all want? We want to leave the world in a better place. And she wants something better for her child than what she had. And she knows she has to make a difference and do have different financial habits. And so that's what we want to empower these communities to do, is to own their financial future. And we want to offer products and services that help that. And because of Vizo, I just want you to think about what you guys have done. We are a small credit union. We would have never been able to do this. So the impact of empowering this community is solely through Vizo. And so again, I thank you. I thank Lauren. This project and this community and the impact that's going to come from that, you guys own that. And I want you to be very proud of what you're doing for us.
Yeah, that's exactly why I love the industry that I've chosen to work in with all of you. I mean, really, I mean, it just resonates with my own core values to begin with. So thank you for sharing that. Lauren, credit unions are built on collaboration, people helping people. How does the Vizo Financial Empowerment Grant program embody that cooperative spirit?
Yeah, well, I'm coming off of 3 days of our Principles and Philosophy Conference with 60 credit union professionals in the Carolinas, and to hear Christy talk about our cooperative principles. I mean, I know she's E, but that's what the credit union industry was founded on, and we really kind of uphold those core values of empathy and equity and concern for community. So this program speaks to that so well. I see our role at the foundation as being that philanthropic partner and being a responsive philanthropic partner, fostering that trust that we have with Vizo to be able to get these dollars out into our communities. I see our role as being able, to mobilize and uplift communities through our credit unions. And this program just speaks so highly of that, because we're able to, to tailor our efforts so specifically, and to meet the needs of communities and to meet the needs of our small credit unions in particular, to help them grow and thrive and serve their members in a way that may not be possible without y'all's financial support. So super excited that we have this relationship with you guys, because we, our last session at our Principles and Philosophy Conference is like, there's nothing that you can't imagine. And we talked about, thinking outside the box and helping solve for problems that you see and that exist in your communities. And that should be the role that credit unions play, is to provide solutions. And this program allows credit unions to be creative and provide solutions, again, to the communities that are most vulnerable. So I'm super appreciative of Vizo for these grants and for their trust in us to be able to get these dollars into the hands of our credit unions.
Right. Christy, my next question, I'm going to direct it towards you. Did the process of applying or implementing the grant connect you with other credit unions or community partners?
Yeah, for us, it was more community partners.
Okay.
And so, in our new community, there's a church almost right across the street, and this church is doing fantastic things. They bought a center, and they're having kids come in, and they're doing a lot of mentoring and things like that. So we are going to connect with them to do financial empowerment, to do financial literacy, to talk about finance. But then he's also going to allow me to come into his church and talk to the elderly about things to watch out for. So I'm a part of a program called Friends Against Fraud. And it's to, show the elderly that these are the things you should watch out for, because sometimes they are such a trusting community that they're so vulnerable. And so it actually opened a couple of doors for us in that way. And then just yesterday, we had staff at the elementary school handing out candy. And the staff at the elementary school has been so gracious. And again, they want all their kids to open kids accounts. And so it's really helped us form lasting partnerships within our community.
All right. Well, and I know, Sarah, you were talking about you formed a lot of partnerships as well within the community. How do you think programs like this strengthen the bond between the credit union and their local communities?
So again, it gives you opportunity to help support the missions of the other entities. Like you were saying with the church, you're now able to help them be able to further their mission with the groups that we worked with. I mean, Head Start, all the parents have to make specific financial goals and they have a very specific tracking progress or process and have to show progress, do a lot of reporting. So one, we're helping to strengthen our relationship with them to further their mission, which I think just builds trust so that they realize this isn't like a one and done kind of thing. They're not just showing up to, share some information and then not be a part of it. I mean, like, as I mentioned before, folks who we've worked with, they will call us directly, send a text. I mean, they feel sometimes like we're their personal banker, but really that we are there for them and really building the trust. And many of the organizations we're working with, they are nonprofits, so they have limited resource dollars, and to be able to offer a program like this where they can get savings for their folks and it's no cost, it's really helpful to them.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to ask both of you, Sarah and Christy. So what advice would you give other credit unions that are considering applying for a future Vizo Financial Empowerment Grant? Sarah, how about we start with you?
I would say do it. Lauren's team is fantastic. I mean, I've had numerous times where I've called to chat through things with her. I have this idea. Is this reasonable? I mean, I knew what we wanted to do, but I think you need to have the flexibility of realizing that the communities may not be able to do the exact structure you were thinking. For example, I was originally anticipating that all of this had to be a savings match. And at Head Start it is, but with the Serenity Village, it's not. They just don't have the capability to save. So once they've completed the education, we open them a savings account and deposit $100 in there. And it has, for many of them, it's grown, right? I already mentioned they're not just taking the money and running kind of thing. But that was one thing. You need to be a little flexible about how it actually can be fully executed. And I really appreciate with Lauren and her team with the Carolina Foundation, Credit Union Foundation, they are just always accommodating, and there's reporting that you have to do, but it's not stringent in any way. And really, they just want to know that things are having an impact. So do it.
All right. Christy, what about you? What advice would you give to other credit unions?
Yeah, I would say just do it as well. I mean, you have nothing to lose. I think my advice would be, especially, I guess, as an advocate for small credit unions, is think big. I mean, you don't always have to think so small. This was something big for us. So if we thought we could touch this many individuals with, opening up their kids' accounts, it was a big dream. So, you don't always have to think small. I think sometimes small credit unions need to think bigger and bigger credit unions need to think smaller. So I don't remember who I heard that from, but it is true. And just make sure that whatever you're doing, it aligns with your mission, because I think that mission leads everything. And I think the community, like you said earlier, they know when you're authentic. Like they know when it's real and you're there to stay and it's something that's going to empower them. And I would just say, whatever project you choose, make sure it does have a lasting impact on the community.
All right. Lauren, I'm going to ask you my last question. So, as you look at the impact of these grants as well as past grants, what stands out the most to you?
Well, I mean, I love stories. So I get to hear all these amazing stories of impact from credit unions across our two states. I mean, how we advance our mission is, we inspire others We empower others with information that we are able to kind of gather from all these success stories, and retell those stories to other credit unions so they can also think creatively about projects and partnerships in their communities that, again, like drive meaningful change, right? That's what we're doing. And promoting, financial well-being. I mean, that's what credit unions are here to do. And to be able to uplift that purpose with putting some grant dollars behind these initiatives, again, that may not be accessible for credit unions to implement. I just take such great pride in the ability to be able to do that and forge that partnership with Vizo that allows us to do that. So it's always, I feel like Christy, I wear my emotions on my sleeves. I tear up all the time hearing these success stories. But inspiring other credit unions to be able to do this work alongside us is what this program is all about.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining me today. It's very clear that these grants aren't just about funding. They're about empowering people. They're building stronger communities, and it helps all of us live out the mission of people helping people. So thank you. Also, special thanks to Vizo Financial's partner, Defense Storm, for sponsoring today's episode. The new world is a cyber one, full of online transactions, technology-based data, and virtual communications. These things certainly make for more streamlined and convenient operations, but they also open the door to cyber threats, which are a major risk for credit unions. So what do you need when an enemy comes to your doorstep, or in this case, your screen? You need a good defensive strategy. That's why Vizo Financial has teamed up with Defense Storm, a financial institution cyber risk management solutions provider, to help credit unions build those strategies and enforce them through security and fraud services. For more information on this partnership, please contact a Vizo Financial corporate account manager. As always, thanks for listening. And don't forget to subscribe, share, and join us next time on Financial Minds. Until then, stay connected and keep empowering your community. I hope you make it a great day. Thank you.